Mr. Speaker, the American economy is gaining momentum, but the independent Federal Reserve is regrettably not adding the energy needed to abet this growth potential. After 4 years of inflation caused by excessive government spending and an all-out assault on U.S. energy, our private sector economy is now in significant recovery, and it truly is only the beginning. Tariffs are realigning supply chains here at home, and by supply meeting and exceeding demand, this will continue to lower inflation. Additionally, the OBBB makes bonus depreciation, the small business deduction, and the R&D tax credits permanent, sharpening our competitive edge and incentivizing capital investment. The table is set for growth.
Welcome back to America First, Patriots. Today we're breaking down a powerful speech from Congress that touches on two critical issues facing our nation: Federal Reserve policy and support for our veterans. If you believe in putting America and Americans first, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to stay informed on the issues that truly matter to our country's future.
However, nearly $1 trillion in annual interest payments hang over our heads. Here is where the Fed's actions can make an enormous difference. Due to Biden administration's highly inflationary policies, we saw inflation soar to over 9%, 20% over the 4-year period. Those policies and inflationary rates that came from them forced the higher interest rates by the Fed to as high as 5.5%. The recent CPI report, however, has inflation at 2.4%. And PCE, the Fed's favorite indicator, personal consumption expenditures, at only 2.1%. Yet the Fed has not moved much and has left interest rates as high as at where they currently are at 4.5%. So, Mr. Speaker, a 1% reduction of interest rates to 3.5% would add $290 billion in GDP growth while also delivering $200 billion of savings in the service we pay on our debt. That's an improvement of $490 billion to boost our economy. Lower rates today will advance housing, an industry with a 3-to-1 multiplier, spur capital investment, and unlock durable good purchases, including cars and household appliances. Unfortunately, fear-mongering by the media drove consumer sentiment down despite the, in fact, lower inflationary data. So, Mr. Speaker, I call upon the Fed to choose growth over apprehension, as the President is urging. Mr. Speaker, arise today as we are voting on fiscal 26, FY26, the MILCON VA Military Construction, Veterans Affairs and Related Agencies Appropriations Act, an essential bill that demonstrates our unwavering commitment to our veterans, military families, and national security. This is a major piece of legislation totaling $453 billion that ensures we support those who've worn the uniform and continue building the strongest military in the world. This bill fully funds veterans' medical care, backing up the words we often say on this floor and throughout our districts that we support our veterans and we thank them for their service. Let me quickly walk through what's in this bill. $453 billion in total funding, $150 billion in discretionary funding, $300 billion for mandatory programs, $131 billion to fully fund veterans' medical care, $2 billion for military family housing, and over $1.2 billion for Guard and Reserve construction facilities. This supports President Trump's initiative to end veteran homelessness through the Bridging Rental Assistance for Veteran Empowerment Program, protects veterans' Second Amendment rights, and invests heavily in general military construction. I represent proudly more than 45,000 veterans in Pennsylvania's 9th Congressional District. When you include their families, many of whom have served or are preparing to serve, well over 100,000 Pennsylvanians just in my district alone will be directly impacted by what we do today. We also have 800,000 veterans throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. As well, our Lebanon VA in my district was ranked among the top VAs in the nation for many years in a row. That is something we certainly take pride in and something this bill supports. I'm also proud to represent Fort Indiantown Gap, the second largest Army helicopter training facility in the U.S. In total, the Gap trains more than 130,000 military personnel each year. This bill not only honors our past military heroes, it also helps inspire the next generation to serve, as we are seeing that patriotism grow and recruitment is way up. Thanks in part to the new culture of strength and support for our military under President Trump's leadership. So I urge my colleagues to vote yes on this critical appropriations bill. It reflects our values, strengthens our defense, and ensures we never waver in our duty to those who sacrificed for our freedom. Thank you, and I yield back.
Let me tell you something, folks. What we just heard from this congressman is exactly the kind of straight talk we need more of in Washington. This representative gets it. He understands that the Federal Reserve has been playing politics with our economy instead of doing what's best for American workers and families. The facts are undeniable. Under the previous administration, we saw inflation skyrocket to over 9% due to reckless government spending and an all-out war on American energy production. They attacked our oil and gas industry, shut down pipelines, and forced us to rely on foreign nations for energy that we could produce right here at home. The result was predictable: higher costs for everything from gasoline to groceries, hitting working families the hardest. But here's what's encouraging. Despite the Federal Reserve's reluctance to act, our private sector is showing its resilience. American businesses are adapting, supply chains are coming back home through strategic tariff policies, and we're seeing the beginnings of real economic recovery. This is what happens when you unleash American ingenuity instead of strangling it with bureaucratic red tape. The congressman makes a crucial point about interest rates that every American should understand. Right now, we're paying nearly $1 trillion annually just in interest on our national debt. Think about that for a moment. $1 trillion that could be going toward infrastructure, veteran care, or tax relief for hardworking families is instead going to service debt created by decades of fiscal irresponsibility. When inflation has dropped to 2.4% and the Fed's own preferred measure shows 2.1%, there's no economic justification for keeping interest rates at 4.5%. The Federal Reserve is supposed to be independent and make decisions based on economic data, not political considerations. A modest reduction to 3.5% would inject $290 billion in GDP growth, while saving taxpayers $200 billion in debt service. That's nearly $500 billion that could stimulate job creation and economic expansion. This isn't just about abstract economic theory. Lower interest rates directly impact real Americans trying to buy homes, start businesses, or purchase vehicles and appliances. The housing market, in particular, has a multiplier effect of 3 to 1, meaning every dollar invested creates $3 of economic activity. When young families can't afford to buy their first home because of artificially high interest rates, we're not just hurting individuals. We're damaging the foundation of the American dream. The congressman also highlights something we don't talk about enough: how media fear-mongering affects consumer confidence. Despite improving economic indicators, constant negative coverage has driven down consumer sentiment. Americans are more pessimistic about the economy than the actual data suggests they should be. This creates a self-fulfilling prophecy where people spend less, invest less, and take fewer risks, which slows economic growth. Now, let's talk about the second part of this speech, which focuses on veteran affairs. This is where we see the difference between rhetoric and action. It's easy for politicians to say they support our troops, but this $453 billion appropriations bill puts money where their mouth is. The breakdown is impressive. $131 billion, specifically for veterans' medical care, ensuring that those who serve our country have access to quality health care. This isn't charity. It's an obligation. We sent these men and women into harm's way to defend our freedoms, and we have a sacred duty to care for them when they return home. The bill also includes $2 billion for military family housing and over $1.2 billion for National Guard and reserve construction facilities. Military families sacrifice just as much as service members themselves, often enduring multiple deployments, relocations, and extended separations. Providing quality housing and facilities isn't just good policy, it's recognition of their service. What's particularly noteworthy is a focus on ending veteran homelessness through targeted rental assistance programs. No American veteran should be sleeping on the streets after defending our nation. The fact that we're seeing initiatives specifically designed to address this crisis shows we're finally treating veteran welfare as the national priority it should be. The congressman represents over 45,000 veterans in Pennsylvania's 9th District, and his Lebanon, Virginia, has been ranked among the top facilities in the nation for multiple years. This demonstrates that when we properly fund and manage veteran services, they can deliver exceptional care. It's proof that government can work effectively when it focuses on core responsibilities like caring for those who served. Fort Indian Town Gap, which he mentions, trains over 130,000 military personnel annually, making it the second largest Army helicopter training facility in the United States. This kind of infrastructure investment strengthens our national defense while providing economic benefits to local communities through job creation and increased spending. Here's what's really encouraging. Military recruitment is increasing under current leadership. After years of declining enlistment numbers, we're seeing young Americans choose to serve again. This reflects a cultural shift toward respecting and supporting our military rather than viewing service with suspicion or disdain. The contrast couldn't be clearer. Under previous leadership, we saw military recruitment plummet as woke ideology infected our armed forces, and political leaders seemed more interested in social engineering than combat readiness. Now we're seeing a return to the warrior ethos that has made our military the most effective fighting force in world history. This appropriations bill represents more than just funding numbers. It's a statement of national priorities. When we fully fund veteran medical care, invest in military housing, and support training facilities, we're telling current service members and potential recruits that their sacrifice matters and will be honored. The economic and veteran affairs issues discussed in this speech are interconnected. A strong economy provides the tax base necessary to fund robust veteran services. Conversely, caring for our veterans and maintaining military readiness contributes to economic stability by ensuring national security and demonstrating American reliability to allies and trading partners. Patriots, this is what principled leadership looks like. It's not about partisan talking points or political theater. It's about identifying real problems, proposing concrete solutions, and backing up rhetoric with substantial funding and legislative action. The Federal Reserve needs to stop playing politics and start serving the American people by lowering interest rates to levels justified by current economic data. Congress needs to continue fully funding veteran services while addressing the root causes of our fiscal challenges through responsible spending and economic growth policies. We have an opportunity to build on the economic momentum that's already developing. American energy production is increasing, manufacturing is returning home, and consumer confidence can be restored through sound monetary policy and fiscal responsibility. But we need leaders who understand that government's role is to create conditions for prosperity, not to micromanage every aspect of economic activity. The same principle applies to veteran affairs. Government has a clear constitutional responsibility to provide for the common defense and care for those who serve in our military. This isn't about expanding government into areas where it doesn't belong. It's about fulfilling core obligations that only government can meet. As we move forward, we need more representatives who understand these principles and are willing to fight for policies that put America first. That means supporting our veterans, unleashing our economic potential, and holding institutions like the Federal Reserve accountable when they prioritize politics over sound economic policy. Make sure to let me know in the comments what you think about the Fed's interest rate policy and whether Congress is doing enough to support our veterans. And remember, if you want to stay informed about the issues that matter most to our country's future, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Until next time, keep fighting for America first.